Welcome back. This is your host.
Hold up. You didn't start with yo.
Nah, I always cut that off.
Oh, I like it.
You clearly don't listen to our podcast.
I was there when it was recorded. Why do I need to listen to it?
So you can hear the finished product. I cut some things out, put some things in. Who knows? Like, you could be saying "Hail Hitler." Who knows? You never know.
See, this is why when I sued 2016 Glencoe over creative differences, okay?
Nah, I feel you.
Keep this.
Welcome back to the Super Flow Bro podcast on the 2016 Glencoe Media Network. I am your host, Marcus Flowers, aka Flo, aka call me what you want, just don't call me lazy. And today I am joined by,
y'all know who it is, Metro Meta, he who shall not be named. And when this is over, you should get some guests on this.
You know what's crazy? You actually have not been here for a podcast this month.
What are you talking about? I'm talking about Super Flow Bros.
Nah, the point of Super Flow Bros is the flow part. The only way we can have a guest on this show is their last name has to be Flowers.
That seems like an arbitrary. What if me and you are on a podcast with somebody else?
That's different. That's their show. That's their creative.
What if it's on our show?
So it wouldn't be the Super Flow Bros then. It would be something completely different. It could be like the Daily Planet, or a Metro Meta, or a Fantastic Flow, something else. But the Super Flow Bros is just us two. That was the point of this podcast, so that we can share our opinions and experiences and our life lessons and our vulnerability to our audience, just through us two as brothers.
Sure. All right, let's get into it.
But before we begin, how you feeling, man? We couldn't record last week because you were quarantined.
I was quarantined.
You were afraid that you had the Rona.
I didn't have the Rona, though.
Okay, so how you feeling, man? How does it feel to be Rona free? When you got that negative test result, what was your first response in your head? What was your first action when you saw you were negative?
Oh, I went back to sleep. But
okay,
because last week I was lucky enough to have the week off when I felt a bit under the weather. So I was just chilling in my house. It was a strange week, but it was a good week, especially with what's coming up.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, see, I'm not COVID anything.
How has your week been?
Oh, my week's been fine. I got a new haircut, so
yeah,
I will be debuting it. Don't say what it is, but I will be debuting it this weekend when I'm outside.
When I have full creative control of 2016 Glencoe,
when I am outside,
this episode will be edited to have the "I like your cut G" video on it. Okay?
But yeah, no, it's just been a crazy few weeks with my job and trying to cover the elections and
election time,
the debates and stuff like that. So it's kind of winding down, but it's kind of not, just because we're 13 days away from the election. And of course, after that, it's going to be the peaceful transfer, and then after that, we have the healthcare debate. Peaceful? We have the healthcare Supreme Court case, so that's going to be interesting. You said what?
Do you think the transfer of power will be peaceful?
I actually do think it will be peaceful, just because, let's just say Trump loses, and he'll say, look, I tried to save the American people, and y'all ain't want my help. I'm out of here. That's the best case scenario.
But what if they say, voter fraud?
I also so the thing with that is, it's looking I hate to be super optimistic about this, but when you're looking at the polls and everything, it's not because in 2016, the race was close and Trump was winning some states. And he was winning the states that Hillary needed to win, and he was winning in his states. But in 2020, it's looking like Joe Biden is winning the states that Trump won in 2016. And not only is he winning the states that he is supposed to win in, he's inching closer in states that Trump should have won a blowout. So that's why I think it's going to be a peaceful transfer. Be I tried with the American people. They ain't want my help. I made America great. I did that, and I'm out of here. But what I do see happening is towards the end of his term, I can see him jamming a lot of stuff through a lot of like proclamations, a lot of executive orders, jamming them through right before he leaves, pardoning way more people, and just so like making sure that he's covered and stuff like that.
Can he pardon himself?
No, so he can't pardon himself, and it's interesting you bring that up because with his taxes in Manhattan and New York, and with that situation, we're seeing like his request to have his taxes withheld are being denied by the Supreme Court in New York, and the only way he can get a pardon is if Mike Pence becomes president, and that's what I actually thought was going to happen when he caught COVID. I thought he would give power to Mike Pence and have Mike Pence pardon him. But, so yeah, no, yeah. But yeah, so since we're already on the, talking about Trump and everything, let's just jump right in. So, Ice Cube says he is not supporting Trump, believes white supremacy is on both sides of the aisle. My problem with this is that Ice Cube is a multimillionaire. He has been rich since, let's just be generous and say he's had a lot of money since like 1990. Can you check when the first Friday came out?
Alright.
Because I don't want to misrepresent him.
What about his career before Friday?
I mean, okay, let's just even say that he had money then, but let's just say when he got true money, I don't want to say right money isn't real, but he got more steady money with first.
No, that's not it.
Friday starring Ice Cube.
You said it's first Friday.
It's called, oh my goodness,
1995.
Okay, so let's just say Ice Cube has had money for literally it'll be 25 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so he is a multimillionaire. So for him to wait until 20 days before an election to say, hey, y'all ain't looking out for black people. It's like, dude, where have you been at? Like, I mean, and the my problem with, well, I don't want to jump ahead, but let's get to what Ice Cube said. Ice Cube stated, people can always add to it. It's not my contract. I believe it's our contract.
What is he talking about?
You know me. To me, it's politics. Of course, it's shady because it's misleading, but it's politics. So basically, have you heard of his platinum plan?
No.
Okay, so what his platinum plan does is $500 billion package is intended to help black communities. Whereas Cube contract is a list of proposals from him and his team that they'd like to see implemented.
Wait, is he like writing up legislation? Why?
So here's my problem with it. Ice Cube, who has never served public office.
Why is a ghetto bird doing this?
Huh?
Why would it why is he equipped to be doing this?
That's my issue. Like, it's cool if you want to. I don't necessarily agree with stay in your lane, but I do think there are different ways that you can amplify your voice. And
in the words of Meek Mill, there's levels to this.
So he said, I'm a true undecided voter because they're not doing enough. And what that tells me right there is that, okay, so when you're looking at what the Trump administration has done, like you're seeing the damage that the irreparable damage, like there's 545 kids who cannot get in contact with their parents. That was the cause of the Trump administration. We are nearing 100,000 deaths because of COVID. That's because of the Trump administration. The economy is the worst it's been in 9 years. That's because of the Trump administration. So when you're saying I'm a truly undecided voter, that means you haven't been paying attention. And it's interesting because from my perspective, it seems like Ice Cube was trying to, he thought his celebrity would be bigger than his intelligence. And so when he's getting grilled by Roland Martin, and he's like, my plan does this, this, and that, and then Roland tells him, yo, you got to go further. Like, how are you going to implement? You get every black business or how are you going to implement that you have 5 million black entrepreneurs? Like, how are you going to implement that? What are your steps to get there? How are you teaching people entrepreneurship? How are you teaching the community to handle their money to make sure that, okay, here's the money I'm giving back? And
can we stop telling black people to just handle their money?
See,
we don't have money to handle. Why do we keep getting this talking point?
So, all right, but this is what I'm saying. So it's just like, and when you compare Ice Cube's plan to Harris and Biden's, their plan goes much, much more farther. They've had it out longer, and they didn't need to work with the Trump administration to do that. And so what I think Ice Cube was trying to do, he was trying to be like, yo, can y'all court me? Can y'all help me out? I don't really like the Democrats. But it's one of the things that I've noticed specifically in this election is how black men are just naturally more conservative than black women, and I don't know why that is, but that's just something that I've noticed. Like, even like you and I, we have more conservative.
Don't sign me down to that.
No, you do.
Have
you
some
do.
conservative
You
viewpoints.
do. No, you have some conservative.
Name one.
No, I will not air you out on here. But you do have some conservative points.
Oh, please.
I will not air you out like that. But we are like, it's just for some reason, like I'll just speak for myself. Like, of course I'm progressive, but there are certain parts, just like there's certain ideologies, there's certain morals that may come off as conservative, and it's not like, oh, I'm against, like, it's like I don't want to get myself in trouble, but so it's like, it's just like we're naturally, I don't want to say naturally conservative, but there's just some conservative ideas that I believe in, and my problem is like I kind of see what Ice Cube was trying to do, but I feel like he's not the voice to do it. Like the Tupac, what's the Tupac quote? He says, "I may not change the world, but I will inspire the mind that changes the world." So Ice Cube can be that person who puts that spark in that young person. In that
inspired
person.
by Ice Cube.
But okay. Let's just say we're seeing what he's trying to do.
Look, let's put it down like this.
Right.
Unless Ice Cube comes out tomorrow with another Friday with tons of black artists, we don't need to hear from him.
And the other thing with Ice Cube, his basketball league, the Big Three, his business partner is big friends with Steve Bannon. So
gross.
Take that as you want. But and next up,
all them names, and Diddy can't come up with something better.
Read it.
So Diddy launches a new political organization for black people called Our Black Party. You know Diddy, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, the man who's had 50 names since he's been in the game, and the best thing he could come up with is Our Black Party. Give us your name, Diddy. That's my take on this. Anyway, so the hip hop mogul announces he is backing a new political organization that aims to center the voices of black Americans in politics and push radically black agenda called Our Black Party. Still a bad name. In an interview with the media personality Charlemagne the God of freaking course it's him, Diddy admits to being irresponsible for telling black people to hold our vote hostage in an early interview. See, this is what happens when you give people too much money and they don't think about it. He's not thinking about it. A couple of months ago, I told everybody, hold out their votes. Diddy said, it would be irresponsible for me to hold out our votes hostage, but it would have also be irresponsible for me to just let this moment go by. The world is watching, and I'm doing everything I can to make sure that going forward, that we are part of the narrative, that we are our own politics. You know what's funny? People like Diddy and them, like Diddy and Kanye, they always be like, you know what? Black people are not a monolith. Now stand by as I try to make our votes a monolith.
and it's crazy to see because it's a lot of misogyny because when they see like a black woman on the ticket and they're like, oh, she can do that, I'm gonna do that. And it's kind of just like when Trump saw Barack, he was like, if he's doing that, I can do that.
Yeah, I mean, the problem we mainly have is just the problem in general is that this is being led by artists. Like, that's the main issue. And the whole thing is like, it's really just artists and like celebrities who are pushing this narrative, pushing this ideal. And yeah, they have the money and they have the voices to do it, but at the same time they don't have as much of a backing behind them to give them the actual force they need to push for actual change. And I think in general that's probably a good reason why this keeps happening. I mean, but what you also, I think, is also important to bring up in general is how much the black community as a whole doesn't just blindly listen to all of this. Like, yeah, you get your stupid people on Twitter who are like, yeah, I voted for Kanye. But for the most part, it's not a lot of, like, people are like, yes, this is the perfect ideal. If anything, every time I see things like this going up, I more than often see or just feel like I feel like these people get finessed. Like, Marcus, I don't know if you feel this way, but like, what a lot of times when we have artists like Kanye West and all these people, they come into the zeitgeist and they're talking about, oh, we're gonna make our own party, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. My main problem with it is they're mostly because they're artists, and artists are just full of themselves. Like Taylor Swift would do the same thing if she had the chance.
And it's like,
but for me, I feel like oftentimes their own platforms get more radicalized and more used by people who aren't them than they do themselves.
And I will say that when it just comes to creators, they're always going to create. So like Ice Cube, creator. Diddy, creator. Kanye West, creator. So when we see them create, and they're jumping into other avenues like alcohol, fashion, music, film, television, and they're like, okay, we see politics, this is like the next venture I could be tightening. And that's not necessarily how politics works. When it comes to politics, see, this is why the U.S. democracy is all screwed up right now. It's because politics are treated like a fashion show. They're treated like a popularity contest, when you're just like, which it shouldn't be. When you're just like, yo, shiniest object in the room, that's what you should be doing. Like when Cube says, yo, $500 billion for the black community, boom, that's it. People are going to be drawn to that. They're going to be like, yo, oh my god, he's doing this for us, But like, to be fair, there's tons of statistics that show that more often than not, people probably just vote for the best looking candidate. And see, that's all. So at the core of it, you need to be able to make a sound decision based on what they want to do and what their record is.
But look, the biggest problem with politics is that nobody actually genuinely cares that much about politics.
And see and that's also where we're at as a nation. It's just like before Trump, I will say, even with Barack, we didn't like, politics was always there and we always cared for it, but when it's always in our face and it's just like Trump, all in, like Trump, all in your face, you're like, okay, this is out of hand. I'm not used to this. I'm not used to seeing Sean Spicer from the White House pool going back and forth with reporters. I'm not used to Sarah Huckabee Sanders going back and forth.
To be fair,
I'm not used to Mike Pence doing all of this. I'm not used to seeing the White House used as a political facade for your campaign. Like, I'm not used to this. So it's just like when we see it coming to our face, we have a drastic reaction. It's just like it's a natural reaction. So we're gonna be like, okay, we can do this, and we're gonna go back and forth. And our natural reaction is like, okay, we have to act, and that's what we're seeing. So when we have Trump, when we have Pence, and we're seeing all of that, and Cube's like, yo, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And we have Diddy like, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And then when we have a person who's like Joe Biden, who's like, yo, this is how I want to work with this, this, and this. And they're like, oh, what about the crime bill? What about the crime bill? And it's like, okay, what were you doing in 1994, Ice Cube? What were you doing in 1994, Diddy? So it's just like, we could go back and bring up everybody's past, because what your past shows is that you can either grow from it or you don't grow from it. So Joe Biden went from architect of the 1994 crime bill to being the first black president's vice president, and that just doesn't happen overnight. He has to show, improve, and be able to say, hey, not only can I work with this black man, I can also still I can still bridge that gap.
But see, for me in general, I feel like the main principles that trip us up all the time is just it's mostly just a matter of people don't understand how politics work and how politics are done in our country. Like, a lot of people don't see what it takes to get a bill passed or even just to get things done. And for the most part, politics, and like, I feel this especially when you're talking about people like, oh, I don't deal with politics. And when you're people being like, I don't want politics in my comic books or stuff. For me, I feel like people think of politics as like a high stakes form of entertainment. And that's why you have people who be like, yeah, I'm tuning out. I'm not listening to this. It's just another form of entertainment. But in general, I think we need to change that because, again, it's just something you're into. You're into politics, not, oh, it's something everybody needs to be aware of. And right. I think, honestly, the Trump administration, with the fact that it's always in the news, has done a change to the fact that now there is more of a lane to show that, oh, we can shove politics down people's throats. And it's going to suck these next few years. But I think, in general, even if Joe Biden does win, I feel like, in general, the amount of politics that we get in our daily dose of just conversation in general is going to be massive compared to before when Barack was in there.
Yeah, no.
And I think that's a benefit.
Okay, but enough on that. What's the next story?
So, obviously somebody went on Twitter and they put out a tweet, pick the best Pratt. They do this all the time. And Twitter unanimously voted Chris Pratt can lose. He can leave. He can go away. We're willing to give him up. Ghost style. He can go into the dust and we don't care. Now, eventually that became bullying. But, to be fair, he is the worst Pratt. And the worst Chris. So he kind of deserved it. But, yeah. So, Twitter was going at his neck. Headed for the head top. Twitter's still undefeated. Except by TikTok. And a couple of stars. A couple of the MCU stars. You had, like, who was it? Robert Downey Jr., James Gunn, Zoe Saldana. Of course she does. Mark
Ruffalo as well.
Mark Ruffalo. They all came out there like, hey, Chris Pratt's on the up and up. Now, for those of you guys who don't know why Chris Pratt is the most expendable Chris, it goes down to a lot of problems. To start with, his church last year was called out by Ellen Page, suggesting that is anti-LGBTQ, and he has been suspected to have a lot of conservative values. He also follows a lot of conservatives. I think he was following Ben Shapiro on his Instagram, which, yikes, my man, what is wrong with you? And so people just were dogging on him, and people came back to defend him. One thing that I found interesting that people kept bringing up was, where was this protection energy when Zendaya was called to be Mary J?
Or Brie Larson? And I will say it truly shows the toxic nature of Hollywood, and we're seeing it on Front Street. Like, they did not hesitate to jump out and defend Chris Pratt. Even James Gunn was like, yo, I defended Zendaya, but when somebody pulled up the receipts and said James Gunn, Zendaya, and there was only one result, and it was that tweet that said I defended Zendaya. And it's just like, it goes to show how there's a double standard in Hollywood and how it's still a boys club at the end of the day.
How do you not support Zendaya?
And it's just like, Mark Ruffalo. Could you pull up Mark Ruffalo's tweet? Because I think it was on there.
I didn't see it on here.
Oh, pull up his tweet with Chris Pratt because I do not. Oh, there it was. Go back.
Nope. Oh. You all at Chris Pratt is a solid man there is. I know him personally, and instead of casting aspersions, look at how he lives his life. He is just not overtly political as a rule. This is a distraction. Let's keep our eyes on the prize, friends. We are so close now.
So, and that goes to show that you're going to protect your boy, regardless, even if they wrong. So, when he's like, oh, he's not over political, okay, that's because he has the privilege to not be. So, well, like, he has the privilege of not having to worry about healthcare, not having to worry about premiums, not having to worry about second chance. Like, he has that luxury. I don't want to say he's worked for it, but society is built for him to succeed.
I know Zoe did not use a Tupac tweet.
So for Ruffalo to be like, yo, he's not overly political. Okay, you, Mr. Man who was naked telling us to vote, got the nerve to say, oh, it's cool, he's not political. You should hold him to the same standards that you held us ordinary Americans to. Like, Mark Ruffalo has been for years an advocate of climate change, I'll just stick with climate change. And it's just like, okay, so he has progressive views, but when it's like, okay, that's my man's, he's good, he don't really deal with the political stuff, it's like, nah, I want you to have the same energy for Chris Pratt that you had for us when you was telling us to vote naked.
Isn't Chris Pratt's wife like a Democrat?
No, I don't care about that. But
I'm just saying.
No, I think he got divorced.
Oh, that makes more sense.
I will say it's not shocking, but it's like it goes to show the true nature of the MCU, which sucks. Like, I love just like Marvel comics and all that, but it just sucks to see like superheroes doing this, and it goes to show that they're not superheroes. They're actors playing superheroes.
I want to see another season of High School the Musical, the series, and I want that to happen now more than ever. Anyway, I am excited. I'm still excited for James Gunn's Suicide Squad. That's going to be lit. Let's go to our next quote. A bit of advice, Marcus. You know, I know you're working remote. Times are changing. I might be working remote soon. So, don't masturbate on the Zoom call or next to minors. Yep. That's the advice.
Yeah. So, basically, if y'all haven't seen already, Jeffrey Toobin, who's a writer for the New Yorker, he was masturbating on a Zoom call. Now, I don't know if y'all are familiar with Zoom calls, but on a Zoom call, you're basically in front of the screen, and you know when you're on the screen. Like, you can choose when people look at you, when people don't look at you, when you're muted, when you're not muted. So, you know when people are looking at you and when your camera's on. And I'll even just say this from my experience. When you have, there's even a light on your web camera that shows that you're on, that your camera's on. And towards the end of the meeting, he wasn't paying attention anymore. And we've all been there. We've all been in that. I will speak for myself. I have been in Zoom calls where I just clearly do not care anymore. Where I am at my wit's end. I don't care about the budget reports. I do not care about the TPS reports. I do not care about the quarterly earnings of the last quarter. I am at my wit's end. Never have I been like, you know what would be a good thing? Masturbation. I have never, ever been like, you know what? I've never been in a Zoom call like, you know what's good right now? Let me jerk it real quick. Let me jerk it to give myself some excitement.
So, don't be pulling the Toodman. Did you get to Juliana yet?
No, but that's next. But I will say, he said he made an unfortunate mistake, and then some people were like, oh, everybody does it. First off, let me say this. If you are masturbating in a Zoom call, you have problems. You need help. Let me be clear. Look up the sexual addiction hotline. If you are masturbating during your Zoom call, I will look it up.
I might have to use this computer for work later.
I will look it up.
But what I will say to this is just, it's interesting seeing how relaxed people get when they start working from home.
No. We're back to this. If for any reason you have the sudden urge to masturbate during your Zoom call, before you even do that, I want you to dial this number, 855-968-0965. That is the Addiction Hotline Anonymous number. And they will help you out, and they will tell you that masturbating during your Zoom call is something you should never do. You should never be on your Zoom call and say, you know what? I'm going to get to it right now. I cannot wait. It's something that's been on my mind all day, and this Zoom call, I got to get it out. That should never cross your mind. That is some real sicko stuff. Prayers for James Tubin. I hope he gets the professional help that he needs. I will not defend this man, though. What he did was wrong. He should lose his job. He should lose his multiple jobs. Because stuff like that shit is unacceptable, and not even because of the current climate we're in. It's just as a human being. You don't want to be on your Zoom call at the end of the meeting when they're talking about the quarterly reports and somebody pulls out their private parts. That makes no sense.
Yeah, there's times to be horny on main, and Zoom call is not it.
And while we're on the subject, do not masturbate on the Zoom calls, and do not masturbate near minors.
He wasn't told they were a minor.
Listen, I know what a 15-year-old girl looks like. I know what a grown woman looks like. I know the difference between a teenager and a young woman. I would never be like, you know what? That girl looks 15.
But no,
matter of fact,
afterwards.
Isn't Giuliani married?
Of course Giuliani's.
Is he?
Random. He also used to be married to his cousin, though. So he's weird. For those of you guys who don't know, Rudy Giuliani, the president of the United States personal lawyer, fell for an embarrassing Sacha Baron Cohen prank in the soon-to-be-released movie sequel to Borat. Y'all gotta hear this. In the film, a copy of which was obtained by NBC News, Giuliani and a young woman posing as a reporter who is part of Cohen's sting can be seen going into a hotel bedroom for drinks. At the woman's invitation, after completing what Giuliani, the former mayor of New York City, apparently believed to be a real interview about the coronavirus pandemic and Trump's response to it, the incident occurred as Giuliani, a 76-year-old man, was trying to remove his microphone with the help of the actress, which had been used as part of the movie's interview with him. The film, which is being released Friday on Amazon Prime Video, shows Giuliani reclining in a bed and then putting his hand down his pants and moving it around for what appears to be a few seconds while the actress playing Borat's teen daughter, Maria Balkovich, 24, who's pretending to be a television reporter, stands in front of him.
And I will say, Giuliani said he ain't get me. And they got him. They got him. They got him.
In a reply, Giuliani said, Oh no. Giuliani, this isn't looking good, my man. If you need 4 tweets to answer this.
What'd he say?
Borat video completely fabricated. I was tucking my shirt after taking off the recording equipment. At no time during or after the interview was I ever inappropriate. If Sacha Baron Cohen implies otherwise, he's a stone cold liar. In fact, the NY Post today reports it looks to me like an exaggeration through editing. As soon as I realized it was a setup, I called the police, which has been noted in THR article July 8th. This is an effort to blunt my relentless exposure of the criminality and depravity of Joe Budden and his entire family.
Joe Biden.
Budden. Deadline Hollywood reports CAA has distribution screenings this September where there was no mention of the scene holding any importance. We are preparing much bigger dumps off of the hair drive from hell, of which Joe Biden will be unable to defend or hide from. I have the receipts. Here's my thing about your receipts, Mr. Giuliani. We are how many days to...
We are 13 days away.
We are 13 days away. Many of the states in America have online or early voting. Not online. Mail-in or early voting. A lot of Americans have already voted. If you wanted to actually stop this election or actually throw some dirt on Joe Biden and stop this election, you would have dropped it already. And if you're waiting, I'm sorry, my man. You are waiting too long. This is not 2016. In-person voting is not as popular as it used to be. Let me tell you, my man, you cannot wait till November 3rd to be dropping your third drop. Okay? And you are not supreme.
And I will say, when it comes to the editing and the fabrication, so, you know, I don't know that man. I don't know that man's heart. I don't know what was going on in that room. But I will say he was laying down, he was on the bed, and his hand was in his pants. Now, I have never been laying down to put my hand to tuck my shirt in, but I also don't wear a lot of collared shirts to do that. So
what are you talking about, Mars? You never lie all the way down to tuck in your shirt? You don't do that?
Nah, but we'll see. It's just crazy. This probably is the most 2020 thing that could happen.
You know what's crazy?
Yesterday.
9/11 mayor gets caught tucking his hand in his pants in Sacha Baron Cohen skit. Probably is a headline that is probably going to make sense any year. But especially this year. Alright, speaking of things that I didn't think we'd ever see again, Jared Leto will play the Joker again in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Is this the new one or the Snyder cut?
I'm assuming it's the Snyder cut.
Snyder cut.
I will say, I did like Jared Leto's Joker.
What? Why?
I did. I liked it. It was a cool spin on it.
No.
Like, this is already make-believe land. Like,
he was Hot Topic Joker.
Okay, but this is... The Justice League was Hot Topic Justice League.
But, I'm just saying you couldn't take him seriously. He had damage on his forehead, my man.
Okay, he was damaged. It makes sense.
He looked like a 6-year-old tried to write.
I didn't mind it. I hope he's in more than a few scenes.
Wasn't he leading a cult a couple months back?
But who knows? But yeah, that's. I'm actually looking forward to it. I hope it all works well.
I didn't watch the original. Alright, speaking of things, Raya, I don't know how she said it at the end. I heard it once. The Raya, I'll just say it like that. The Last Dragon trailer dropped. This, of course, is the new Disney princess movie. It looks interesting and it looks good. What drawed me to this, what I wanted to talk about, was it said it was still going to drop in theaters in March. What are your bets on that actually happening? I
don't think, if it does drop in theaters, it will be behind the premium paywall on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I don't. It to me, it looks like a good movie, and maybe 2 years ago people would have gone and seen it. But come on, you dropped Mulan on Disney Plus for $30. This is going straight to stream.
Right.
Moving on, we got our newest topic: believe the best version of yourself. What? Becoming the best version of yourself.
Oh, sorry. That's not a new topic. That was just how we're ending the pod today. So over the past few months, how have you just been the best version of yourself?
When I woke up. That's me.
Okay. I will say it is a blessing to just wake up in this climate. To wake up and not only have good health, but the mobility to be able to move around and still have a job and to still do extracurricular things like this podcast. Just because I'm very grateful and thankful to still be employed so that I'm able to do things like have a podcast, still pay for my PlayStation games, still pay for my Nintendo Switch, to be in the process of trying to buy a house. So just stuff like that, I'm just very grateful and very thankful. And if you are listening, I am thankful for you too. To the 26 and Glencoe Media Network family. Just because once you're here, you are family.
And we've been blowing up these past few months, so we're so
happy. And it's just every month has been better than the last. So we definitely just want to say thank you from the bottom of our heart. We're trying to get more YouTube content. It's hard. It's not hard. It's just like we're trying to figure out that code, but we'll get there. Just like we got there with the podcast. There were when we first started 26 in Glencoe, there were some months where we just got 15 downloads, or it was like 8 downloads a month, and now we're up to we're over like 1,000 a month. So we're very just grateful and blessed for that. We're just leaving you with these closing words. We want you to be the best version of yourself, whatever that means to do. Don't never hesitate in what you're going to do. Go after it. If you're not qualified for that job, apply anyway. You just gotta have to go after it. Once again,
hit us up on social. You know, we want to hear from you.
Say our tags, Morgan.
So hit us up on Twitter, Flow My Hero, and Metro Meta 26, of course. Hit us up on 26 and Glencoe on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You know, hit us up. What's popping? We want to hear from you guys. What sort of content do you guys want on the channel? Coming up, Marcus is probably going to be taking a quick break. But I got a couple things in the pipeline I'm thinking about adding to the podcast. So be on the lookout for that. And anything else?
Oh, yeah. If you have been following our latest podcast, the Chop It Up podcast, it's been me, and we've had Mills TV, Marvin Goodley, and this past week was Anthony Cass Clark. Thank you for listening. Make sure you listen to that. A lot of jewels have been dropped. A lot of gems have been dropped on those podcasts. But yeah, once again, we just want to thank you all. And until next time, peace.
See ya.